Okay, welcome to A Long and Long Time Ago with me, Adam. I'm joined, as always, by my cousin Martyn.
Hey guys.
Um, Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. There's no series on at the moment. We've obviously gone through it all of Obi-Wan and whatnot. So I've had a question in, which is, what series would you like to be made? So I don't know if you want to get started on that one.
Yeah,
If you
when
could make just
yeah,
a little bit of context, if you could make any series
yeah. I mean,
possible in the Star Wars universe, then
yeah, I'm going to pull back the curtain slightly because you did give me about an hour's warning
yes,
for
yeah.
this question, and
Well,
I immediately started writing a top 5 list of movies and TV shows that Martyn would like to see, and you were like, whoa, 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 whoa,
well,
whoa.
let's just go.
Just
Let's
one
just
would be
work on
fine.
one at the moment. I think, yeah.
Now we finished our list or our top countdown or ranking of things. Now I want to do it for
Just
everything. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Well, we can get into that. We can look at
Yeah,
other ones at some point.
yeah, yeah.
But for now,
Um,
let's just stick with the one, shall we?
Okay, yes, yeah. One, I'll do one, but there might be like a sort of a side one I'll slip in there as well.
Well,
But
when you started writing that, I did have a couple of ideas that I thought, oh, do you
yeah,
know what? I think this
yeah.
one would be quite nice. Yeah,
Mm.
so go ahead. Go ahead. You take it away.
I think it's been great the last few years with the series that we've had. We've had the Mandalorian, we've had Book of Boba Fett, we've had Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're going to
Hmm.
have Ahsoka.
Yeah,
We've had
we've
the
got
Bad Batch.
plenty coming up as well, haven't we? So
Yeah, plenty Andor.
look
Yeah, so
forward
we've got
to.
plenty coming up, but they all take place sort of in and around the Skywalker saga timeline.
Hmm.
So what I'd really like them to try and do is perhaps something new and fresh that doesn't take place in that period. There's a computer game that I don't know if you've heard of, but it's called Knights of the Old Republic,
So I have
and
I have heard of it,
yeah, and
but I haven't played it, and I don't really know anything about it.
okay,
So I
well,
take it you've played it.
yeah, well, there's kind of three. There's Knights of the Old Republic, which is the
Right.
original. There's Knights of the Old Republic 2, and they're both story-based role-playing games.
Hmm.
The first one particularly is probably the greatest Star Wars game ever made.
In
It's
your
probably it's got
opinion, yeah.
in my opinion, but I'm
I
sure
don't
you could
want
agree.
to, I
No,
can't say for sure, but I just want
no,
to, as we
but
did with our previous list, we should make it clear it's an opinion.
yeah, but I'm fairly certain that I can probably say that without that caveat
Yeah.
on this occasion, because every time you look at any type of top list of Star Wars games, it's
Hmm.
pretty much always number one. It's
Okay.
that good. I
Yeah.
mean, the story, and I'm not going to tell any of it because you might watch it one day or
Mm.
play it, but it's got one of the best stories ever in Star Wars.
Right.
It's got one of the best endings to any show, let alone game or film ever. It's brilliant. Anyway,
Do you have sorry, I've got to sort of question you if you know
yeah,
much
yeah,
more
yeah.
about the game, like what year did it come out and
I think it
where,
was
what,
two.
go on.
Sorry, I think it was 2004. The original came out. I'm
Right.
not 100% sure, but
Okay.
I've
And
got a
is
good
it
friend.
PC?
PC, but you could get it on Xbox.
Oh, you could. Okay.
Yeah, and it was. I didn't play it until around about 2000 and I want to say 10.
Right. Okay.
And it was suggested to be one of my good friends, Stuart, who's also a super Star Wars fan.
Okay.
And he told me, I'm not going to tell you anything about it, just play this game. And by the end, my jaw was agape
Yeah.
by what I just played. It was
Yeah.
brilliant. And then they made a sequel, which they rushed out a year later, Knights
So
of the Old
not as
Republic
good.
2. It was brilliant, but it wasn't anywhere. It was never going to live up to this
No.
story. Let's put it that way. And then they've now got out an MMO, a massive multiplayer online game called
Hmm.
The Old Republic, which is roughly based in the same time. So actually, to get to the point,
Hmm.
I think I would love to see a show, and I'd say a TV show, not a movie, because it's the sort of thing that needs a long form storytelling. I think to either make a show of the story of the first game,
Yeah.
or perhaps something in its own right, an original story set in that world, because it takes place 2000 years in the past before
Right.
episode 1. So it's a completely different set of things that are going
Yeah.
on. There's the Sith, for example, there's thousands of Sith as well as thousands of Jedi. There's not just the rule of two, and it kind of explains why the rule of two had to come about.
Right.
But again, that's another long story. There's a similar series of books and comics out at the moment called The High Republic. Now that's set around about 300 years before Episode 1, and that features Yoda as he's in, because obviously he's old, and he's in the Jedi Council and stuff.
Sorry, I don't suppose you remember how old he was when he died exactly.
900 years, he said.
Yeah, I did think that. Yeah. I didn't want to be the one to say it, because I thought you'd know better than me.
Well, I think it was 800 years he'd been training Jedi, but he was 900 years old when he
in Empire.
800. He said in Empire, he said he was 800. He trained Jedi for 800 years, and in Return of the Jedi, he said, "Look, as when 900 years old you reach, look as good you are not." So I'm assuming that means that's how old he was when he was about to die. So yeah, they've done this big series of books and comics that all link together called The High Republic, and I just think it's still not far enough removed from the Skywalker saga being just 300 years, because there's still similarities to what happened in those, especially the prequels, I suppose. Right. And I'm certain that they're pushing this series so much of books and comics that I think Lucasfilm or Disney will probably want to bring out a show at some point about that period. But for me personally, I would like to go further back to the Old Republic sort of era, 2,000 years before Episode 1. And there was a massive rumor. Do you know Benioff and Weiss, who made Game of Thrones?
Right. No, not really. But
you've seen Game of Thrones. Please tell me you've seen Game of Thrones. Oh my God, Adam! Every episode there's a revelation.
I think I just missed the boat a little bit on Game of Thrones, and I just don't. I think it's too late for me now.
It's not. It's never too late. It's never too late. It's not a lot. It's only 7-8 seasons and 10 episodes per season. You could easily get into that. But let's go. Anyway, there was a rumor that the directors of that, Benioff and Weiss, and they were writers as well, I think, not directors, were going to. They'd been hired by Lucasfilm to make a film set in the Old Republic because of their history with knights in armor and stuff like that. They're kind of, but for various reasons that never happened and doesn't look like it's ever going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, that would be my choice as a show. I think I would like to see, my number one choice.
Yeah. Well,
what about you?
It's actually interesting that you say that. It's not what I've gone for, but you talking about that has sort of almost led me to think of other shows. I thought, this would be quite good. This would be quite good. Now, I've spoken to one of my mates about it, and we sort of almost along those lines, we've discussed like how we'd like to see something way before, so that you sort of see the original Sith and how they sort of came about, and almost how the Jedi, the early days of the Jedi were, and how the Jedi Council was born and everything like that. But obviously that's not my choice, but we thought, that would be quite cool. Yeah. Now I sort of came up with two ideas. One of them is loosely based on a game, which it's not going to be my choice, because I think I'd actually much rather see the other one, which is more born out of the Boba Fett series not delivering on some of the things that I would have liked to have seen. And I think I'd like to see bounty hunters actually bounty hunting, take a bunch of the characters that appear and show up in Empire and do something with them. I just think it'd be cool. We see sort of a little bit of it in the early season 1 of Mandalorian,
and in the Clone Wars.
Yes, yeah. And it's always good, You see Boba Fett in Empire, doing the
Yeah,
job, and that's
yeah, definitely.
it's part of what made him such a beloved character, isn't it? So
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that'd be really cool because you could have scenes where you'd think that the bounty had got the upper hand, but Boba Fett or whoever outsmarted them and got them in the
yeah,
end.
yeah.
There's and you could also tie that into a bigger story, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, I think like almost the beginning of Mandalorian almost sort of went down that route, didn't it? With the IG-88, was it, or IG-11?
IG-11.
I can't remember. Yeah, so IG-11 and the Mandalorian going to try and attempt to get the child who was the target, and I just think it would be cool. Just see some more bounty hunters in action.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great, to be honest with you, if they could just come up with some characters that we haven't seen before as well, so that there'd be no baggage attached to them, because then we can't be disappointed because we don't know what they were supposed to be like, or what we thought, in our minds we thought they would be like.
But there's so many that appear in Empire. You've got, I mean, you're going to have to remind me of their names. It's Bosk.
But there's Bosk, Dengar, IG-88, Zuckuss, Forlom, or 4LOM, depends on who you are, and Boba Fett.
Yeah. See, I think all those characters, maybe not Boba Fett now, but well, yeah, I mean, he could even make an appearance, couldn't he? But
then you've also got Cad Bane.
Yeah.
You've got lots of the characters they introduced in the Clone Wars that they could use.
What was Ventress like known as? Because
she was Count Dooku's apprentice.
So she was sort of on the verge of Sith.
Yeah, no, she was dark side apprentice, but there was what's her name? Aura Singh. I just had to look at one of my figures. Aura Singh, who turns up quite a bit in the Clone Wars, and in Solo, the guy played by Woody Harris, the character played by Woody Harrison, I can't remember his name now. He said he killed Aura Singh.
Oh, okay.
So she's out of the picture, but again, I go back to something being fresh. I think we're naming all these characters that we know so well. We're just going to fall into the trap where I didn't think they'd actually be like that.
That's true. Yeah. Whereas with Mando, it was something fresh, like you say, no baggage, and they could just do so much more with him.
Yeah, but I think Mando, we've mentioned this before, fell into the trap, unfortunately, of being Boba Fett, because we saw him, and although none of us registered it perhaps out verbally, we were all thinking, oh, Boba Fett. So he stole all of the coolness. So when it came to doing a Boba Fett series, it was a kind of a case of, well, if we do the Mandalorian again, it's just going to be the Mandalorian, and everyone's going to compare him to the Mandalorian.
But as I say, like my reasoning for it was because Boba Fett didn't deliver on that side of things for me.
No. Yeah, no, that's fair.
So I think
good choice. Yeah.
You could set it at any point, really, couldn't you? At any point within the series.
And because all of these bounty hunters don't really have any facial features, you could actually long form it so that it took place over all three periods of the Skywalker saga, perhaps. So you have the first season being in the prequel era, the second season being in the original trilogy, and then the third season taking place in the sequel. But there could be a continuous thread throughout that. That would. Yeah. See, we're writing a show. We're writing a show right now. We need to be getting this down on pen and paper.
Even better, we've got it in video format.
Oh, even better. Yeah. We'll send it to Kathleen Kennedy tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I know we said only one, but I did have one other idea that I'd really like to see, and it'd be quick, I promise.
Go on.
Darth Plagueis, who Palpatine mentions.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, there's a book called Darth Plagueis, and it's not canon anymore. It's part of the Legends books, but it's possibly my favorite Star Wars book or novel of all time. And it's basically the story of how he brings Palpatine as a young man to become his Sith apprentice, and how he eventually, gets killed by Palpatine, but also all of how he gets Palpatine into the government and it's all this kind of thing, and if they made a series of this book, it would be or a movie of this book, it would be absolutely amazing. You should try and, I don't know if you listen to audiobooks or anything when you're at work or anything, but download Darth Plagueis. It's a really, really good book. But they are making a series that's in production at the moment called The Acolyte.
Right.
And it's not much, it's been kept quiet and it's in the background, but it's based, from what I understand, it's about the Sith in the shadows, in the time of before episode 1. It could even be in the time of the High Republic that I was talking about earlier, and how there's the rule of 2 and how the Sith are there, but nobody knows about them yet. So they could add elements of Darth Plagueis into that. So they could already be doing that. But I just wanted to throw it out there because it's a great.
Do you know what? That is actually something, again, one of my mates, we were talking about, like prequel. We don't know enough about Plagueis in the canon world. For those of us that have just watched the films and the series, we don't know anything about him, really.
There isn't anything in the canon except for the Darth Plagueis of
it's just the mention,
the
isn't
wise scene, in the Opera House. Everything else is non-canon, so that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, I suppose we'll wait and see on that. So that series we want to see. There's series coming up. Should we get into the trailers a little bit? Because Obi-Wan was on, we haven't really had a chance to discuss the trailers between us. So,
we should have a quick sort of flick through the 3 trailers that came out, or 2 official trailers and one perhaps not so official that came out at Celebration a couple of back. Well, it was 2 months ago now.
Yeah, a little leak. But so Andor first, then. Yeah. As that's the next series to be released, we should probably talk about that. It looks interesting. It does look like it could be a good series. It's I'm guessing the beginning of the rebellion.
Yeah, I don't think Patak's the beginning of the beginning, but perhaps the beginning of the Rebel Alliance, just to make a sort of there was rebellion cells around this time already around the galaxy, but I think the formation of the Rebel Alliance is perhaps what this will be leading up to, because it's been a while since I've seen it, but this series is going to heavily feature Mon Mothma on one half of the series and Cassian Andor on the other half, and their stories are going to intertwine until they sort of come together at some point, I'm guessing. But I'm fairly sure that in Rebels there's an episode where Mon Mothma I'm going to say the word resigns, but it's not the right word, sort of leaves the Senate or something, and then puts out a broadcast to the galaxy saying that all the rebels should get together and form the Rebel Alliance. So looking at this very brief trailer that we've had and the scenes in it, it seems to me like the Empire are onto her not being particularly loyal, and this might be sort of her setting up that in the future, setting up all these cells coming together and her leaving the Senate, etc. So that looks really interesting. I think the series is meant to be a thriller. It's kind of like a Bourne Identity type thriller. Yeah, that's how I heard it described.
Something a little bit more different than your all action and drama sort of, if you can call it drama. I suppose you can. Dramatic scenes and it'd be something completely different. The stakes are different. The stakes are more personal for Cassian, I would imagine, and probably more galactic wide politics wise for Mon Mothma, whereas we're kind of normally looking at localized gangsters or singular Jedis in the series that we've seen so far. So it does look like it could be really cool. Couple of things I picked out from the trailer. There's definitely going to be some flashbacks by the looks of things, because there was a scene with some clone troopers I spotted. That looks really cool. So we might see some more of the Clone Wars. That'd be really good. That'd be interesting. Maybe see some of the Clone Wars characters that don't appear in the films and series. Possibly. That'd be quite nice.
They do seem to like their cameos in these series. So that'd be good.
Tamara Morrison returns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll have to de-age him slightly though for
Yeah.
this.
I'll just keep the helmet on. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Go on.
oh no, go on if you've got more.
No, I was just going to say there was a couple of scenes in it that looked really cool. There was this great scene where you see all these Imperial officers sat around this clinically white room in their white uniforms that Director Krennic wore from Rogue One.
Yeah, that's right.
That looks really cool. There was the scene that takes place in the Senate, and you know, I know politics is sometimes an iffy thing in Star Wars for some people, but the last time we saw the Senate obviously was when
it gets
Yoda
destroyed
was getting at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So maybe we might
get for a Sidious or a Palpatine.
Possibly. I'm not sure. I know we're gonna see Sidious or Palpatine in the next trailer that we're probably going to talk about, but you know, they do seem to be getting Ian McDiarmid in quite a bit at the moment. So I'm never going to say no.
No, I know.
But there is canon for this period where Palpatine's kind of locked himself away from the public and no one ever sees him.
Right.
So I would lean more towards not seeing him, because in this time frame he's sort of leaving the Empire to be run by his officers and the hierarchy, and while he's sort of experimenting in his Sith magic and all that sort of stuff that was mentioned in Rise of Skywalker. So so yeah, maybe, but I'm not sure.
Who knows?
But I mean, overall the look of the show looks beautiful.
It does look good.
Yeah, really crisp and clean,
tidy. Yeah. So is there likely to be another trailer before release, or is that for it?
I think a TV spot was actually released for it today. I haven't watched it yet.
Right.
So I think it comes out on the 29th, so we're about a month away from it. So I think we'll probably just see spots. And then we have to prepare ourselves for 11 weeks of doing this review shows. So that'll be good.
So it's 11 episodes, is it?
It's 12, but
12 episodes.
2 on the first.
Of course,
night,
so, cool.
So I don't think they'd be particularly long episodes, though. I'm guessing they're going to be 30 to 40-minute episodes, if it's that long. So
maybe a longer one for the end. But like they sometimes do these days.
Yeah, I mean, I would analyze the trailer frame by frame, but you know, it's been done by so many people.
Exactly,
already.
We don't need to. It's just our opinions on.
Yeah, I just think
trailers at this point. Yeah,
I do genuinely think that this could be the sleeper hit of every Star Wars Disney Plus show so far.
I mean, for anyone that hasn't watched our previous video, you can see where we put Rogue One in the list, and that'd be interesting. Just gone. Cool. So moving on, Bad Batch season 2 is next. Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it was 1 minute and 12 seconds, I think it was. So it wasn't too much.
Yeah, not too much given away. Again, but
a few frames I picked out where there's Gungi, the Wookiee Padawan from the Clone Wars episode where Ahsoka takes some younglings to get their lightsaber crystals.
Okay. I don't know if that was in the list of what you sent me to watch, but I don't recall that episode. No, I don't recall.
There was a Clone Wars
episode. I may not
have
seen that one.
No, I don't. I think it was one I would have put down as essential, or one not to miss if you wanted to sort of get the main gist of the series. But yeah, so he's a cameo in it. I saw some Republic Commandos featured on the trailer. So they actually originate from a computer game called Republic Commandos, funnily enough.
Right. There's so many more games that I didn't realize existed.
Yeah, there's loads of games that came out in the prequel era, or the prequel era of movies. It was like the peak of Star Wars games. There's a scene where the Emperor is addressing the Senate. Although looking at the screenshot that I'm looking at right now, it actually looks more like it's a hologram. So I'm not 100% sure.
Classic.
Yeah. Well, he looks like he's actually there, but it looks like he's got some sort of force field or hologram around him. So, but you know, again, and it just definitely him and doing the voice. So
yeah, I thought it probably was. It sounded very good. if it wasn't. Obviously, as an animated show, they can flick between a little bit more. They don't. I think it probably works better with him in hologram form because it's kind of what we're used to seeing him as.
Yeah, this stage definitely.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
But I mean, there's some great shots of them on planets, running around, shooting, having blaster fights.
Yeah.
I just hope that I don't know if you noticed, but in season 1, they would never ever use the kill setting on their rifles. They used the stun every time,
Right.
And it got a bit annoying towards the end because it was
it's kind of out of character, isn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of at first I was like, oh, okay, they're doing it because they don't want to hurt their brothers who haven't had their chips removed. But by the end, they were obviously quite a severe threat, and also they were facing off against stormtroopers, and they were still using the stun setting, and it just it just felt a bit Disney, like, oh no, we can't show the heroes actually shooting anybody. So I hope they get rid of that. I wasn't a big fan of that.
Doubt it if they've stuck with it at this point.
Well, I don't know, there was quite an uproar about it, so I'm hoping that they might have, because the thing is though, they've done some really like hardcore stuff, haven't they, in previous shows that we've watched this year. So do you think that actually
in animated form
or anything?
No, they can kill them off, I suppose. Yeah,
I think the Bad Batch that I'm really looking forward to. I loved season 1, as we said previously. I just hope there's not too much filler, and not that you can take much from a 1 minute 28-second trailer, but there did look like there was a lot of episodes that could be some filler in there, and but that's fine. They can't make a series without putting some filler in, but I just hope there's some meaty story there that carries on from the end of last season, which was really good.
We'll see, I expect. Do you know how many episodes that one is?
I haven't got a clue.
No, it's not been announced, or we haven't looked into it.
No.
Okay. Should we hold off on Mandalorian till we get some nice clear footage?
I mean,
or do you want to get into it?
Well, no, I won't get into it massively. There's a couple of things I picked out that look really cool. There was Bo-Katan sitting on a throne, but it doesn't look like it's on Mandalore. It looks like it's sort of her on another planet. There's quite obvious references to the Mandalorian Din Djarin having to go back to Mandalore to cleanse himself from the taking his helmet off, which he shouldn't have done, which I thought was quite cool. So we're definitely going to go back to Mandalore. Loads of Mandalorian battles, so I'm guessing there might be some kind of Mandalorian civil war going on. It's a big guess.
Interesting. Yeah. There's not really a lot that's been announced about this series at the moment, is there? So.
No. And there was quite a lot of footage with Dr. Pershing in the doctor who was experimenting on
the actor.
No, Dr. Pershing was
the other guy underneath.
The cloning doctor. He seemed to be in it quite a lot. So it looks like we might be carrying on the cloning saga. More retcon for episode 9. That looks really cool. But I mean, from what I could make out, it does look really, really cool. Oh, Babu Frick. I don't know if it is Babu Frick, but one of his species seemed to be in the trailer from what I could see. But I mean,
got a little applause in the audience, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. So there's a few episode 9 fans in the audience. Although, to be fair, Babu Frick wasn't that bad. He was a good little alien. It was just it's just a shame what was around him, really. Anyway, we shouldn't go on about that.
We don't want to give away our list too much.
No. I've been giving it away on social media all week.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway. You should post the list or the actual chart on social media.
I should. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's it really. Just
get people to watch the videos, though. That's the thing.
Yes, yeah. Watch the videos. If you watch this and you haven't seen that, watch it.
No, cool. That'll do for this week, won't it?
Not short and sweet this week, I think.
Yeah, although still managed to crack out 30 minutes. It's not that short, but we'll have to come up with something for next week.
I've got big ideas for next week. So
okay, good.
Make sure you keep about 3 or 4 hours aside.
Yeah.
Look at the smile on his face.
3 or 4 hours, oh gosh. Well, that's going going to keep people interested. Obviously, come back next week to find out whatever that was that I don't even know about that's going to last 3 or 4 hours. Follow us on social media, and just check out everything in the description below for all the information that you need. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Take care.
Right, bye.